If you ever thought that fishing in freshwater was boring, then please, please, please think again, because this is predator fishing European style, and this is the World Predator Classic. There are 342 competitors from all across Europe and as far away as America taking part in this magnificent event. It's the third time the World Predator Classic has run, and this weekend there will be anglers competing in street fishing, kayak and boat disciplines, looking to be one of those lucky anglers that wins one of the magnificent prizes on offer and, of course, that major title. There's 200 anglers on foot in the street event, 40 in the kayak event, and 102 anglers competing out in the main lake on the boat. This is the biggest event of its kind in Europe.
It's a fantastic competition. It's a huge competition. Fishing world is here and will be very fine. We start at kayak category and first time.
I try my best and I just hope I keep myself in one piece. And also my friend, my vice captain, he's also really competitive guy, so it's going to be interesting to see the 3 days how it's going to be.
If I would win this competition together with my mate, yeah, that would absolutely great. It would be the greatest thing I ever do, yeah, that's for sure. But it's difficult. There are a lot of good fishermen here.
The World Predator Classic launched 3 years ago and in that time has become the major event in the European predator angling calendar. Based out of Hellevoetsluis in Holland, it takes place on the impressive herring fleet, a massive piece of fresh water reclaimed from the sea. There are deep areas, shallow banks, islands and weed beds that are perfect hunting ground for perch, zander and pike, the target species in this event. The town itself has a significant naval history and was the base for the Dutch fleet in the 18th century. A large harbour and canal with a moat surrounding the town make it the ideal place for street fishing. Competitive predator angling from street, kayak and boat is increasing in popularity across Europe as more and more anglers join the predator revolution. Each country, of course, has its own experts, and Holland, Belgium and Finland are tipped to be the favourites in a boat category, with Germany leading the street section. Each country has its own distinctive style of fishing for the same species of fish, and the big question on everyone's lips is which will be the successful one. In recent years, it's been the Belgian pairing of Coppens and Staveman that have dominated the predator scene. Jeremy, Luke, back to defend the title. How's it been as a year yet again as champions?
Very great. It was unbelievable for us to win it twice, and we also won the European Championship, so also twice. So for us it's like we have to tell each other regularly because we think we are dreaming still. If you say it, it's still unbelievable.
What would it be like to win it a third time?
Yeah, it's always unrealistic. I always go to a tournament like, would it be possible to win? Because if you see all these boats and you think in yourself, oh my God, what is this? We did it a few times in a row, but it's unrealistic. So even now, if we can start, I also have the feeling, oh my God, what am I doing here? Do I make a chance? And but sometimes it happens, and yeah.
Well, you're certainly on a roll. Jeremy, we'll finish off with you now. Practice has gone well, presumably.
Yes, I have to admit, you never know, but I have to admit it worked like our plan until now. But still, it can depend on a lot of things, like other people choosing the same spots, you never know that, or the weather, or the color of the water. So we're not sure, of course, as always, but we think we've done in the preparation what we can.
On the boat now with Jeremy Staveman and Luke Coppens. And Jeremy, Luke's fishing over there. What exactly are you trying to do at the moment when you're lure fishing? What are you trying to replicate?
Well, it's several things. Of course, the purpose is to get predator fish to strike, to get your lure. But there are two things. You can make him look like it's real food, or you can trigger the bite reflex. It's like if you play, you can compare it if you play with a cat. He knows if you're a rope or something like that, he knows it's not food. But because if you do it the right way, he must attack. So that's the different things we try to do.
During the competition and during we are fishing, we decide, will we move a little bit further? How long do we stay on the spot? I always decide how deep do I keep the boat. That's very important, because sometimes we fish to the reeds. It's also important that you know a little bit about the spots, how big is the weed, what kind of weed is there, or maybe we are fishing on structures, all this kind of stuff.
What's your job on the boat then? How do the two of you work together as a team?
Luc is the captain, of course, so he steers the boat. Of course, in normal driving, but that's not the most important. But he steers the boat with the electric engine, and that's a really tough job, because you see there's very windy now, and it's very difficult to keep the boat in the right position. So that's Luc's job, and a lot of things are like you do together.
When I look for zander, for example, I look also for drop-offs. Also very important is the color of the water. I see many people that don't realize, they never look to the water. I'm looking to the water every moment of the day, because on a big lake like here, maybe here when you come out it's clear, but maybe 1 kilometer further away it's murky. He has a fish, crazy. Here's a fish.
Oh,
very nice.
Zander. So we have a zander. I've got to say that we're in the harbour just before the competition starts, and you know what? There's been guys fishing around here all the time for the last couple of days. Nobody's really caught anything. So yeah, well, Luke's going to give him a bit of a hand there, and we'll have a look at exactly what a zander is.
I think it's a nice one, 60 plus, 60 centimeter plus.
So this is a zander, and this is one of the target species that the guys are going to be catching out here. Decent fish, 60 centimetres plus.
In competition, it's very good.
Very good.
If you have three this size, you can win the day. Of course, you need the 3 perch and 1 pike. Very nice strike. It took the lure almost entirely.
So I'm here with Christian Biervet. Now, he has fished in this event for the last 2 years. He's going to be helping me out by keeping an eye on the guys out on the water, seeing what they're doing. Why do you think the zander are easier to catch? Is it the water levels? Is the water slightly more coloured than it was previously, or do you just think that the fish are moving here because of the water levels?
Yeah, this might be the case, that it's because there was a lot of rain in Germany and the Netherlands, and it's pushing a lot of water here. I think 2 weeks ago there was only muddy brown water here, and now it's clearing up. The fish start to eat again, so then it's easier to catch them also.
Glamorous machinery, serious amounts of power and some incredibly high tech make the Predator boat class the fishing equivalent of Formula One. A fully equipped machine with all the gadgets can cost upwards of £100,000, but as with any sport, you still need the skill in knowing how to use the kit. Kayak fishing is an area of the sport that is really growing at the moment, and the guys are also tricked out with sonar, GPS and all sorts of other gadgetry to make their lives easier. They may not look as glamorous as the powerboats, but believe me, the event is equally hotly contested. The final class is street fishing, which is the easiest and rawest form of the sport. All they need is a rod, net and bag, and of course their wits about them to get into the best spots first. Anglers compete on foot and race each other around the streets, trying to catch as many fish as possible. The street event is run in 3 legs across 2 days. Day 1 in the morning and early afternoon, then they break and they go back out again for that killing time for the predators. Low light, evening into dark. They then return again the following day for another day session, and the winner will be the angler that measures the longest distance of fish caught across those sessions. In addition to that, there are prizes for the biggest fish of each individual species. The kayak event is run over 3 days. Day 1, out on the main waters of the herring fleet. Day 2, they go into one of the canals nearby, and day 3, back out onto the main waters again. And the winner of the kayak event is the angler that records the greatest length of fish, but once again, just like the street event, there are prizes for the biggest fish of each individual species. The main event is of course the boat event, and that's 3 legs fished over 3 days. All of the boats go out onto the main body of water, the herring fleet out here from Hellevoetsluis, and their aim is to try and catch 3 perch, 3 zander and 1 pike. Now the bigger they are the better, because the winner in each day will be the team that records the longest combined length of all of those fish put together. Now, win your day, you get 1 point. Come second, you get 2 points, all the way down to last place, which will give you 50 points. The same process is repeated on day 2, the same process again on day 3, and the overall world predator champion will be the team that records the lowest point score over those 3 days. What's the prize? Well, it's an absolutely magnificent boat. One of the great parts of big events like this is the social scene, and the eve of the tournament sees a massive parade through the streets of the city with the amazing boats on display for everyone to see. The whole town is taken over by WPC fever as the crowds cheer and the competitors are treated like superstars. The party culminates with the official opening of the tournament and the firing of the historic cannons that once guarded the entrance to the port. So competition day is now upon us, and 102 of the world's finest predator anglers are gathering here in Hellevoetsluis at the marina for the start of day 1 of the World Predator Classic. As you can see, the weather, you know what, it isn't exactly brilliant. It was really, really windy overnight. The heavens opened. There was a lot of rain. There's been an awful lot of rain over the last month or so, which is affecting also the fishing conditions. But the main thing is, competition will go ahead now. There was a question last night as to exactly what might happen if the wind did get really, really strong, but it's looking good. Everyone's gathering together and they'll be off in about half an hour's time for the kick-off of day 1. Well, 2 of the local hotshots with me at the moment, Willem Stock and Joachim. Now, this isn't normally your day job, is it?
No, I'm a comedian in normal life, yeah.
So what do you think of it?
I think it's a dream for a little boy, a little fisherman like me. It's a dream to compete with this competition, yeah.
And with the big,
was this the legend?
With
the dude?
Well, the headgear says it all immediately from the start, doesn't it? Let's get serious though, it's a bit tricky out there today, isn't it?
Oh no, I don't think so, because it's a big water, you know, it's always windy, so we actually like the windy conditions, so for us it's no problem.
What are you expecting?
We have a very good plan.
Good plan, yeah.
Yeah, we fished for about 10 days, and before that we also were on this area, and we have a plan, and we stick to the plan no matter what happens. So, and that gives you see,
We're very relaxed.
We are very relaxed.
We've struggled a little bit, but we have caught a few fish. We've found a few spots to fish, so yeah, we're reasonably happy.
It's very different to the fishing back home, isn't it?
Oh, totally different, yeah, absolutely. For me, this is my first time, so yeah, it's unbelievably different. So, but I've learned quite quickly, and fingers crossed, we'll have a good day today.
Let's come over to you. It's not different for you. You come over here quite a bit as well, don't you?
No, I've been very fortunate. I've bought Willem Stolt's old boat, so it's enabled me to fish this lovely water, to meet these lovely people. The Dutch are very hospitable and they have huge perch.
Fishing is very different. Every year it changes and it all depends on the weather, and I think it's going to be tough fishing all around. So everyone's in kind of the same boat.
It's cloudy days, so I think you can get pikes whole day. So you don't have to worry about the pikes straight in the morning. So now it depends of the tax. There's lots of wind, so I think the vertical jiggers, they have to go for the pikes first, and they hope that wind goes down.
So defending champions, this is it. The game is about to start.
Yes,
the rain already has started, and it's just looking an absolutely beautiful day, but the wind is better.
Yeah, the wind is better. The wind is better at the moment. Yesterday we had white heads, and then it's very difficult, but now it looks okay. So if it stays like this, I hope it.
Jeremy, A lot of people in the same area now. Because of the weather, it's been restricted on the size of the areas.
Yeah.
You've got to be quick off the mark to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, and change the plan anyway, because it will be a whole different game now. Because if you are divided in 2 sections, you only have half the people, and now you have all the people in 1 section. So your spots can be, you have double chance that your spot is taken already. So you're right, we have to rethink the plan and hurry. But that can be difficult with the waves to drive fast. So
we're gonna work hard and make the best of it.
The original rules for the WPC were that the lake would be split into 2 sections, with half of the field fishing in each half for day 1 and then swapping over for day 2. The final day would then see all 50 boats fish across both sections. The tough weather conditions, however, meant that some safety restrictions had to be imposed for 2016, so everyone would fish in the same section across the whole 3 days. 10 seconds now before the start of the World Predator Classic 2016. This is going to be some serious horsepower unleashed. And there we go. That is the start. They're off. Interestingly, they were pointing that way. They've turned around and there they go. Boat 27 now, and it is the German boat of Helmut Schodel and Enrico di Ventura. More or less directly opposite the harbour entrance, and we can see their angler on the right hand side. Not sure which it is. I think it's Enrico. He is on a soft bait, curly tail. Looks like he's going to be targeting zander and perch. It looked a relatively small lure, but very, very bright green, bright green. We can just see it out of the water there. A little flash of orange underneath it, and that is the fire tiger pattern. We see that he cast out firstly straight towards the marginal rocks and then turned around, went off the front of the boat. The water's not too cold, so the fish are going to be quite active. This low light conditions as well means that it's probably feeding time more or less all the way through the day. So when the light's like this, one of the things that the guys will be thinking about is where are the fish, when are they likely to feed, and there's not necessarily going to be feeding periods. They should be on the feed all the way throughout the course of the day. Just looking there at boat number 25 from Belgium, Robbie Smeets and Gregor Pauly. Captain Robbie Smeets at the back by the engine, and we can see he's on a fairly steady retrieve, fishing the shallow water on the Hellevoetsluis side of the herring fleet. It's a bright lure, it's red, he's definitely after zander. Looking at that, reasonably long cast as well. He's fishing quite a long way off the back of the boat. We've heard across the radio that there's been quite a few fish caught so far along this near margin. Zander primarily, 1 or 2 pike as well. And when the fish are caught, they have to be measured on the official equipment. The security identification tag needs to be placed by the side of the fish and a photograph taken showing its size. This was a nice zander, but Gary Palmer from England took the biggest fish of the day with a massive 125 centimetre pike, weighing in at 16 kilos.
First cast with the really light perch lure, rod goes over, genuinely thought I'd hit the bottom, nothing was moving, then the bottom swam away from us. It took about 15 minutes, eventually we got it in, we'd followed it a bit with the boat as well, kept turning, I was absolutely deep breaths and shaking, so Hans lifted it out and he said that is the best I've ever had on my boat. Couldn't be happier.
At least it stopped raining now. It's a bit better for the guys at the start of that competition. It was absolutely throwing it down with rain, but the skies are brightening a little bit in the distance on the other side of the herring fleet. And it's not a bad day now, actually. So we look over now at the Lithuanian boat who have just landed a fish, are just making some photographs now. And every fish that's caught has to go through the same process. The picture is taken, it's recorded on the official World Predator Classic scoreboard, reported back into the main control, and it goes up straight away. We're looking at 2 very different types of fishing on the same boat here, and there's a lot of teams operating this tactic. One at the front, one at the back, and Daniela at the front was operating a rather faster retrieve. She's now changed over to just a very slow retrieve, just jerking a couple of turns on the reel, just bouncing that bait along the bottom. Meanwhile, on the left of the picture as we look, we see Pierre once again fishing very, very slowly. He's almost vertical jigging. Just dropping a soft bait down underneath the boat, bouncing it very slowly just off the bottom.
It was not so lucky for us because we have to change the plan because of the wind of tomorrow, and we have to search new spots because the spots we found on the training days, they don't work, and so it was not so easy for us. But we have 4 fish that are count, and so it is okay.
Team 20 of Benoit and Nancy de Gros from France there. And we can just see that they're not actually fishing at the moment. What they are doing is searching, and they're just passing over some sort of a feature. There'll be some structure underneath them there that they think will be worth an investigate. They've cruised just ever so slowly over the top of it, reversed back. Now they'll go forwards. It may be there's fish showing up on their echo sounder. It may be the structure under the water. They might be looking for a drop-off. But they've certainly seen something. Is it enough to tempt them to stop? Now, just to indicate how quickly the weather changes on big amounts of water like this, just have a look behind me. The wind's now picking up again. There's a big squall coming in behind us. That rain is likely to be here pretty soon, I would think. We may be lucky, it may pass across just behind us. But as we look down the herring fleet at the other end, I'll just have to hang on, we can feel the chop there picking up. As we look down the herring fleet at the other end, it's bright, the weather's slightly calmer, and it's just amazing how quickly the weather changes on these big pieces of water. That's why they have to be so careful when it comes to safety.
Attention, 15 seconds, still ends of bow defense, 15 seconds. Five seconds, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's the end of day 1.
So Larissa, how was your day?
Not good.
What was the problem?
I think especially with the rules change, and because our plan was to go to the Shimano zone, but then this morning they changed everything up because of the weather. So I think we just had to make a quick decision, and it did pan out.
It was hard because first of all it was very windy, and you had to find some spots where you could find clear water, especially for pike fishing. We actually lost 2 pikes. We had 3 zanders and 2 perch, and 1 perch missing still, and it was not so good.
So how was your day?
Oh, very hard day. So windy, so rainy, and fish very hard to fishing.
We see you move around and try a lot of places. Was this your tactic?
Yes, it's we don't have a iPilot. We don't use a standard anchor, and we need fast change the places. It's our tactic.
After a tough first day, there were 6 different nations in the top 6 slots on the leaderboard, and the key to getting up there was to catch the full complement of fish, irrespective of size. It's a good start so far. What are your tactics likely to be today?
The wind will decide what we are going to do. It's not a lot that you can do. It's decide to drift and cast, or fish vertically and then on long lines. And that's basically the only option you have. All the finesse techniques are gone. You can't really drop short on it because you have so much slack in the line you don't feel the bite. So it's basically power fishing and a very brutal technique.
Do you fish here a lot otherwise?
Yeah, these are home waters. We fish on the Hollands Diep, Haringvliet, and also the Volkerok. Especially training for preparation for the game. We spend almost all the entire year on this side of the Haringvliet.
So what's the plan this morning?
Right, well, the zone has been restricted due to the really bad weather. It's possibly going to go up to 4-7 later on. So, with health and safety paramount of the event, they're looking at restricting the area to the far bank. So that is the south bank. So we've got, strong wind coming from that side over and across. So there'll be more shelter. You can use the whole area, but that's at the competitor's own risk. That has cut the travel time down. So also, the competition has been cut short, so it's going to be 9:30 till 2:30 today. So we've had to plan our tactics around that. So we were initially thinking that we were going to go down quite far because we found a good spot for the perch and the zander. However, gamble, Will it pay off? Won't it pay off? Could be quite tricky. So we've decided we're going to stay a bit closer in waters that we're not as confident in, but our teammates have told us where there's fish, areas that they've caught when they were here.
15 seconds now to the start of day 2. The 10-second warning, we can see all of the boats wound up. Let's just have a look at the white boat of Luke Coppens and Jeremy Staveman. That's going to be pretty fast. And there they are, they're off in various different directions. A serious amount of horsepower there leashed on the waters of the herring fleet today. We've got some seriously choppy conditions. Wind conditions, force 5/6, waves approximately 1 metre in height, and this is the calm side of the waters. The competition has been cut short today. We start half an hour later, we finish an hour and a half earlier, primarily because of the bad weather that's forecast towards the end of the day. And you can see as the boats take off from the start line just exactly how choppy it is in this area. Tactics have had to change for an awful lot of the competitors. You know, they covered in practice further down the water, but this section today has now been cut short. So some of the areas they practice they now cannot reach. So for a lot of the guys, they've got to rethink their plans and start again from scratch. Let's go on board now with England's Stuart Dexter and Matt Boast, who are battling it out with the other competitors to get to the best spots quickly. You can see from this shot just how difficult these conditions are. It didn't take them long to get to their chosen spot, and they decided to target the perch early on as the light conditions and wind suited their spot perfectly. You can see the lemon tiger pattern of this soft bait that was proving so effective in this coloured water. With the fish recorded safely, they were to catch another 3 perch and a couple of zander through the course of the day to put them right in the running for the team event. Boat 41 of the German team of Daniela Schäfer and Pierre Jonen successfully just caught a zander there. Very, very happy with that. We see the photographs being taken, and hopefully they will hold the fish up. They'll hold the fish up there for a photograph. It's a great start and great zander fishing conditions. We see that it is Daniela that's caught the fish. And the way the fish are recorded, the fish have to be recorded and measured. We just see the measuring process going on there. They're put onto a measuring board, a photograph is taken, and then reported in on the telephone as it is being now, and that will report immediately back to the main headquarters that this fish has been caught, and it will go straight onto the scoreboard. Elsewhere, some of the teams were having a terrible day as the heavy winds were hampering their plans. And here we have the Dutch team of Willem Stolk and Joachim Meijer, anchored up with 2 ropes. You can see just how choppy the water is out here, but the very fact that they have 2 ropes out probably means they're going to be here for some time. They've found a spot that they like, and they'll be working this for a reasonable period of time. We just saw in the cast there what the pattern of that bait was, and it's a soft bait with a paddle tail. Oh, and there, look, he's in straight away. And this is very, very often exactly what happens. Exactly what happens. When there's one around, there is very often another one as well. And he flicked that bait quite a long way off the boat, probably 30, 40 metres. He's using quite a large soft bait lure. We see it coming in there. It's probably going to be another zander. Daniela's straight there on the net, and it's in there. Great, they're going to be really happy with that. You see the celebration straight away. That's a good zander. Another good zander there. So in a period of just a matter of moments, they go from nothing to 2 fish very quickly. Boat number 11 now, and this is the Finnish team of Markku Tuisinen and Antti Attila. They've moved straight to the shallows as predicted. They'll probably leave the pike towards the back end, spend a little bit more time this afternoon looking for the pike. But there's perch and zander to be caught at the moment, and there we see one of them. Fish jumped out of his hand, a little fist pump there, and the day gets better and better. Boat number 28 now, and Darius Ostendorp and Larissa Switlick representing the USA. They had a poor first day, but day 2 was proving much better. Sitting in the calmer water by the island, they caught fish straight away, and this is a great zander. Speed now as the dying minutes of the competition are here. They've just caught one. You can see how quickly everyone is moving around the boat there. They need to get back into shore and back into harbour by 2:30 at the latest. It's a race against time now. If they don't get in, there is a penalty levied against them, and you can see just how quick they have to be. It's a long way back now to get into the harbour, but they're happy they've caught one. And it's been a great day for these. Arms in the air as the boat speeds off. The team that was proving to be the most consistent over both days was the Finnish pairing of Markku Tuisinen and Antti Attila, who stayed in the same spot more or less all day to record a full set of 3 perch, 3 zander and 1 pike. It was enough for first place on day 2 and give them an almost insurmountable score of 3 points after their second place on day 1. The kayak event saw 40 on the main waters of the herring fleet for the first day, and the brave competitors had to battle against the choppy waters. Their point scoring system worked the same way as the main boat event, and they had to catch 3 perch, 3 zander and 1 pike to be in with a chance of winning. Day 2 saw the second leg, which took place on the local canal section, and plenty of fish, primarily perch, were being caught. Some were luckier than others, and some may have been wise to use a landing net. Pedal and paddle power causes no problem even in these tough conditions, but as the day progressed, it was the leeward bank in the sun that was the place to be. One of the great things about playing fish in the kayaks is that obviously you're only in a small boat, so you sometimes have to follow them around, and we can just see there that the guy in the blue boat has got a fish on. Not sure what it is yet, it's just on the other side, but in the shallow water it's possibly going to be a pike or a perch. Fishing very, very light as well, so really exciting fishing, and it's an area that's really expanding now. Looks like a perch. I see a red tail, and that's a decent fish. Oh, look at the size of that thing. That's a big perch. And the process for the guys and girls in the kayak is exactly the same as those both on the street and on the boats. What they have to do is just measure those fish. A quick photograph is taken of the fish on the board, We can get the length off it. And we just see there the competitor just taking the photograph of that. Absolutely fantastic perch. Looks to be a big one, it's certainly 40 centimetres plus. And I would say in English money, probably a good 3 at least. And there it is. Holland and Germany dominated the leaderboard with one solitary Englishman, Ian Harris, splitting the pack, but the overall honours went to Dutch kayak king Daniel van der Post. Now, one of the biggest growth areas within angling at the moment is something called street fishing, and gathering around me are 200 of exactly that type of angler, street anglers. We're in the street, this is the main square in the centre of Hellevoetsluis, and surrounding the town is the old moat and ramparts. We've got the canal running through the middle, we've got the main lake just by the side, and also there's a river here as well, so lots and lots of water. And the idea with these guys is literally they do exactly what it says on the tin, i.e. they go street fishing. They travel really, really light. You'll see they've got a bag, a net, 1 or 2 rods, and they've got to go around this area and catch as many predators as they possibly can. Now, you don't get so many zander within these areas, but there are a lot of pike and also a lot of perch. But any minute now, the horn's going to be sounded and all of these guys will scatter to the 4 corners and start their street fishing expedition. Yoshi, the big day is here, and you've had some good practice time.
Yeah, finally it's here. Yeah, I'm a little bit excited. What's coming if the fish is also biting good as in the last days?
Well, this is the guy that won it last year. I need a chair to talk to him, actually, to stand up. Michael, great event last year. You're back again?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I have to come back, and I really want to. Yeah, not only have, but I really want to come back and try to do my best to win again. Yeah.
What's going to be your tactic?
It's the same tactic like last year. So I try to fish what I believe in. I try to fish the same lures that I fish at home, and maybe I changed my tactic a little bit in front of last year. So I try to catch some bigger fish with bigger lures. Maybe I'm right, maybe not. So we will see.
So first time in the event. What do you think so far?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think really excited. Been out practicing for the last 4 or 5 days, so no, I'm really looking forward. I'm just glad it's finally come round.
Caught any perch?
Yeah, perch. I haven't caught any zander or pike, but I've just caught perch.
That it's very, very interesting, you know, because I spoke to various different people, and some have really struggled with the perch.
Yeah.
And they've caught everything else, and others haven't caught perch.
Yeah, I've caught plenty of perch, so I think that's tactic-wise. I think that's what I'm going to go for initially.
What are your opening tactics going to be? You're going to go for pike or perch?
Yeah, pike is my first technique or tactic, and yeah, I hope it works. And when it's getting darker, I'm going to try it for pike perch. When it's getting dark.
As the whistle blew to start the event, the streets of the old town at Hellevoetsluis were invaded by the street fishing army. Some areas are known to be pike hotspots, and the race was on to get there first. Predators are known to be aggressive feeders, and those that cast first often have the best chance. So Marcel, nice pike there. Just talk us through how you caught it.
Yeah, I've caught it with this lure. So I catch it with this. He catched it, I loosed it, I cast again, and he grabbed it again. So aggressive. It was really nice. Yeah, to finally catch him. My first fish today, 63. Not the biggest, but I'm happy with it because every fish you catch is great.
Pike were the main target species in the daylight hours, and around the canal and the moat there were plenty coming out, some of them pretty big. As darkness fell, the event continued, and it proved to be immensely popular with the competitors as the Keenies continued to fish, whilst others had a break for some well-needed refreshment. The pike continued to be caught, but zander are known to hunt in low light, and nighttime suited them perfectly as they came on the feed and the anglers filled their boots. One of the competitors found a pack of them and managed to take 10 in total just through the night section. The match ran on to midnight and concluded at the main town square again with a big party and a few celebratory tales. Despite the field being dominated by German anglers, it was the Dutch and Latvian boys that took the top 3 slots, with Vitalis Karpenkovs of Latvia netting the title. The final day of the boat event saw one team way ahead of the others. Guys, wow, what an event it's been so far. Final day, is it in the bag? Do you think you've won?
I think we have a very good chance now. Very good chance.
It will take...
The game is still open because we don't have so big advance right now.
But you would need to come less than 13th, I believe, today to be knocked off first place.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true. That's true.
And it's a Finnish 1-2 at the moment as well. Your teammates from Finland, they're also doing very well in second.
Yeah, I was expecting that they do that. They are very hard.
So a second on day 1, a first on day 2. Tactics clearly working.
We start hardest fish. We say that. Yeah. And then the next hardest and then the easiest one.
The final day dawned with Tuusinen and Attila holding a massive 12-point lead. It would take an absolute disaster to derail the consistent duo. So just looking across there at boat number 11, the Finnish pairing of Markku Tuisinen and Antti Attila, and straight away they have a fish on. Look at that. That. Very, very quickly they've moved to the shallow water. And there's no messing with that one very, very quickly there. Great, great start for them. The only pairing that could really challenge for the lead were their Finnish teammates of Pataja and Blomqvist, and they tried their hardest, but it simply wasn't enough. And immediately the cast goes back out again, and another fish is hooked straight away. That's one of the things about perch, of course, they feed in packs. Both perch and zander live more or less in the same sort of areas. And let's have a look. Yep, it's another perch straight away. That's 2 perch. You can see how happy they are there. Another fish there for Attila. And that slight change, it just goes to show, there it is, there's the 3 perch. And it goes to show that if there's fish around, these boys can certainly catch them. They started off on one tactic, 2 fish in very, very quick succession. And typically, like we see in angling so many times, the fish just go off the feed or move slightly, and it's a micro change that they need to make, which will be the difference between catching and blanking. And that's the difference with these top anglers. At this level, the guys know when they need to change. Antti and Mikko were absolutely on fire and couldn't be stopped. They recorded another full set of fish, and having finished 4th and 3rd over the last 2 years, the consistent Finns recorded their first ever classic victory. There were celebrations all round in a number of classes as the prizes were handed out and the cameras recorded the historic achievements. England took a prize as Gary Palmer caught the biggest pike of the event. The competition in the street event, kayak angling and of course the boat event had been very strong in testing conditions. Prizes for the biggest perch, the biggest zander and of course the biggest pike, as well as the top 3 slots, but the greatest celebration of all went to the winners of the boat event.
As the overall World Predator Classic Champions 2016.
Well, gentlemen, the end of what has been a fantastic event. Firstly, presentation-wise, how did that feel up there? That emotion?
Unbelievable. I don't have words anymore. Unbelievable.
It was a great show, and I feel so good to be in there. All those fires and the voices, so fantastic.
Having celebrated hard the night before, the next day the 2016 champions Tuisinen and Attila were able to take their impressive prize back to Finland.